Hello, everyone. I'm Sheldon Barlett-Rumer, and this is it. Welcome back to This Is It TV. I have a lovely guest for all of you. I'd love for her to introduce herself, her first and last name, and the name of her business.
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Tsao Moy, and I'm the founder of Integrative Healing Arts, which is in New York City. I'm an alternative and Chinese medicine practitioner, and I use acupuncture, herbal medicine, energy healing to treat patients naturally.
Oh, I absolutely love that. How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this for 18 years.
It's fair. And I'm sure it runs the gamut, but I would love to really dive into your why, right? So there's, alternative medicine and the healing practices in which you participate in. Why do you think that this is the route that people should go in order to take care of themselves?
I'm glad you asked that question. Okay, so the difference, so one of the things with let's say Chinese medicine or East Asian medicine is there's the aspect of cultivating health.
Okay.
So it's a different model. The Western, more scientific model is more like it's broken, fix. Like you go to the doctor when you're sick, and cultivating your health is really this participation, like consciously looking at what you eat, consciously making sure you're sleeping, consciously making sure of your environment, like all of those things, which are the things that you have control over, right? So you're not at the mercy of everything, that you take care of yourself. Right. And so with the acupuncture and herbs, and the energy work is that it helps your body do its job, right? It helps the flow of energy. It helps for you to connect with yourself. It's mind-body medicine, right? So you're aware of yourself, so not disconnected, right? Yeah. And so that is what I found is that the people and that seek this out are looking for more of health, like higher states of wellness, not just I'm not sick.
Right. And the kind of the philosophy of just being okay, right? As opposed to living well, and really living in your best self, as opposed to just surviving.
Right. And that's actually, it's an interesting, because like the standard, and yesterday I was walking, I was thinking about it, like, well, we have been trained to be in this kind of like standardized level of health where, oh, if you're not sick, you're okay. But you're not operating at your best. You're kind of just like, floating on the surface. Right. And like if you're in a sea of swimming, the sea gets rough,
right,
you'll drown. Like you need to know how to be a strong swimmer to get to, and so this is this aspect of the quality of life long term. And we see this with we're going along just fine, and then along comes a nasty virus. Yeah. And any little weakness that we've been kind of going by with, getting by with by taking some medication or whatever, now is kicking our butt. It's like going in there and saying, no, you really are not as healthy as you think, and you need to look at it, take a good look at what we're doing.
Right? Oh, I think that that's so interesting, because I think that there's a lot of things that, that you touched on that we just live with, whether it's living with pain or living with discomfort or living, not even really understanding or coming to terms with the fact that this is not your best life, right? Because you have these aches and pains and all of these things, we've just come accustomed to that's just the way that it has to be. That's just the way that my body is, without really diving into how better it could be. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah. I mean, and I can use what a car analogy, right? Are you like a jalopy that you're like, okay, when something's broken, I'm gonna fix it? Or do you consider yourself one of these, like a Maserati or one of these like high performance vehicles that in order to perform at that level, if you want to perform at that level, it requires constant maintenance, really like checking everything, really being committed to having that performance.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that analogy. I'm a huge analogy fan, so that was a win for me because I really, and I could see it, and I could see the understanding and the dedication. And with that analogy in mind, people take more care of their things than they do of their bodies, and they do of the one vessel that they have to deal with. I think it's wild. So in the nature of what it is that you do, you touched on in the introduction a number of different things in which you offer,
Right.
acupuncture to the alternative medicine. Why don't you walk us through the most common of those things? What are the most common things that you're doing on a day-to-day when able?
Okay, so on a comment, like when I work with, someone who comes to see me, of course, we go through their entire health history, right?
Yeah,
Because you are the sum of your
yeah,
whole experience.
yeah,
So when we arrive, let's say right now,
yeah,
some kind of ache or pain, it started like what actually happened, it started a long time ago. So just covering up the pain is not really addressing that
yeah.
underlying thing,
Love that.
right?
Yeah.
So, like looking at the whole person,
Mhm.
I like to start with, how's your sleep, how's your diet, how the stress levels, because all those things are a part of why you're not healing. So if
Yeah.
someone like in the naturally we move towards homeostasis, right?
Okay.
That's our natural state, is to go into healing.
Yeah.
So when we have an imbalance or a disruption, there is a period of time in which we heal and we go back to, let's say, normal or better. Usually the body is like, okay, we'll just get to a place where you could walk again. If
Right.
you have a limp, that's
Yeah.
still okay because you're walking.
Right.
So we really want to look at, if someone is not healing, then there's a bigger mechanism it's going on.
Right.
And what's going to influence that is, their sleep, their stress levels, their diet, like all of those other things that are adding on and interfering with the body's natural propensity for healing, right?
Huh.
So we got to look at all of that.
Right.
And the first thing that I would do is, take a look at it all,
Yeah.
and then I palpate,
Yeah.
look at their whole body. I listen to, their voice, their energy level, everything, and then kind of get a big assessment of, hey, what's going on? Like, what's this person's biggest issue
Right.
that is affecting their healing,
Right.
right? So if
Wow.
someone is looking tired and I'm seeing them, they're not sleeping,
Right.
no matter what we're going to do, if you're not getting the rest,
Right.
it's kind of like, and but it has nothing to do with my knee pain. It has everything to do with it, because this is this missing piece as well. So really that's the holistic look at, what's happening there,
Absolutely.
and to become aware that, hey, I need to get rest, because that's when my body makes growth hormone, right? We make serotonin, right? It helps with our other hormones, and that is going to affect the healing. So we look at like all of the pieces, not just that one little symptom.
Right. I think that it's really interesting. I pulled so much from that, but one of the things that I really want to dive into is also, or address, is that it's the sum of all of its parts, right? So people go and they're like, my knee hurts. Let's address the knee. Where you're saying, the source of the result is the knee problem, but the cause is something else, right? In being able to figure it out.
Exactly. It's exactly okay. So we do address the local pain part.
Yes.
But let's say if somebody has arthritis in their knee, the symptom is the pain and the irritation. The systemic
Yeah.
process of inflammation is now showing up there, but the inflammation is going to be all around. It's just going towards that one, like, weaker area
Wow.
that is showing up. So in terms of, do you just would I just put needles into that one area? Okay, that'll definitely help to increase the blood flow. It'll help to move any kind of swelling and condition and congestion out. And at the same time, the whole body needs to be involved with the
Right.
process,
Yeah.
right? And the emotional, when someone has an injury,
Yeah.
after a certain period of time, it becomes an emotional thing because they're not able to enjoy themselves, they're not sleeping, the pain, like all of it, that little thing is going to affect everything. Maybe they can't run around after their kids, maybe they can't go on the walks that they like, maybe they don't go dancing, they like everything is like an effort. And so that really like that one little thing can affect their entire life, and then their family, maybe they're cranky. There are lots of other things that can happen that are bigger than just, oh, I just have a little bit of pain. We look at, it's really that ripple effect.
Oh my goodness, so interesting. I want to touch on, as we conclude, what you touched on in the beginning, which was this preventative versus the way in which you live your life. I mean, I think that, going to all of the different themes that we've talked about, we were really talking about, this is something that you take care of continuously, not just when there is a problem, and being proactive in your healthcare, being proactive in how you're taking care of yourself. How much of that do you believe and stand by?
Oh, this is 110%.
Yeah.
And part of, like, I kind of feel like my mission, when I'm working with people, is to really, awaken that consciousness around this idea that, like, you put on a coat when it's cold, because the environment, you waterproof your roof or whatever, those things, because that rain is going to come, or snow, and like all of that stuff, like that's really clear for us. But in terms of, what do we need to do now, let's say in the summertime, when it's warm and everyone's feeling really good, right? And at the same, like, oh, I feel great. And they don't really, like, later on, as we get into the fall, the seasons are going to change. And so to recognize us, like our environment and how that affects us, too. And so, yes, I'm 110% about, like, we need to, lose the weight, so that we can work more efficiently, like, and look at the long term. And that's, I think, I mean, I don't want to, this is I think a cultural aspect too, that in more in the US, we're very, very short term. Whereas in other, like when you get into Europe and you go further in the East, they save their money. They kind of are careful about, making sure for the future. For the future, putting things for the kind of like a little bit of a longer version. We do that with our kids, right? We save up money for college, right? That's important. But really, like, being healthy now is going to save you later on, like that, and to make that connection. Right? Make that connection.
I think that's an important thing, and I think that that's one of the main things, especially in the hustle and bustle and these uncertain times, that people really need to get accustomed to understanding and incorporate that into their lifestyle and the way in which they live, and then seek out professionals like yourself to be able to help them in navigating the way. I want our community to be able to reach out to you. I want them not only to learn more about all that you have to offer, but really dive into what it is that you've built, over these years, and really seek you out as a resource and definitely a practitioner. If people want to get in touch with you, if they want to follow, fan, and like you, where would they find that information?
Okay, so my website is www.integrativehealingarts.com. I'm on Instagram, although I'm working on it to kind of like get the information. And that is under my name, Tsao Lin Moy. That's TSAOLINMOY. I'm also on Facebook under the same name. And one of the things that I just wanted to say that is what I noticed with the patients that come and see me regularly, not because they're have a pain, but they come for really maintaining and their wellness. And what happens is that they go like, well, they don't really know if it makes, sometimes someone will say, well, I don't really know if it makes a difference, because they're used to that achiness. Okay, now it goes away. Okay, it works. But what happens is that when we hit flu season, and they're in their office, everyone else around them is dropping like flies, but
Yeah.
they're not. And
Right.
so, going to this place of, does it make a difference, when you need to really see when you're taking care of yourself, you start to notice that you're in better condition, especially when things are not so great around. And
Right.
and that's a plus. And also you just feel better, more creative, right? And that's important too.
Oh,
Right.
well, I love this. And I think that these are all amazing things that people really need to dive into, as opposed to just maintaining the jalopy when it's not working. Treat yourself as if you are that luxury vehicle that needs maintenance and care on an ongoing basis. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for joining
Thank
me. I
you.
appreciate your time. It was so super fun. Oh my goodness, so good. Okay,
Thank you
guys,
so much.
I'm going to connect you directly to my new friend to make sure you have all of the information, whether it's her website, social media. We're going to make sure that you are directly connected so she can share all that she has to offer. From all of us here at This Is It TV, I'm Cheldin Bartlett Rumor, and we will see you soon. Take care.